But fire up your computers here, right? We're going to use the desktop.
Yeah, please use the desktop for this project today, particularly for those in Group A, because Group A will not work on your own laptop, okay? Because the pathways for IDEA are different on the desktop, and I had to configure everything for the desktops. So if you try to use it on your own laptop, it will crash. Okay, so other than that, we will start in a few minutes.
Wait here.
Downloading all the files. The one I sent earlier was good. Okay. But actually I'll give you another one and before, you know, okay. If you try to make it work there, let's actually have one. That's why it's actually I think that's why I think I'm expecting yours. I'm not yours anyway.
Okay, you got it, girl. Okay, you guys, let's go ahead and get started here, okay? I just want to make a comment here that I really appreciate Denise and Dr. Brown. This is something that they wanted to do, I guess, in maybe the first auditing class, and we're able to get to it. And I'm really pleased because it's a great, idea is a great software that's very widely used, especially in mid-sized companies and more over in Europe and other places. So I'd really like you to get a flavor for this, for what she has here, and I just want to thank her for, she was sitting where you guys are just a couple of years ago in the MBA class and did a great job. She's a great student too.
Thank you.
So let's just give her a warm welcome here.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good.
Yeah. Like the Professor said earlier, 4 weeks left in your semester, right? So make sure you talk to him if you have any questions about your project, your capstone project. It's going to be, your presentation is coming up on the 11th, because I know we didn't talk much about that section with the advanced audit section of your presentation in many of the groups. So make sure you consult with him if you have any questions or issues, okay? Because it's right around the corner.
Yeah, are you working with this same class on the accounting research class? Okay.
And we're trying to encourage them to talk walker as much as possible, because that's unique analysis that you add to the projects, and that would fulfill your requirements, right?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely.
So take advantage of TalkWalker, because that sort of folds in nicely with your project that you're doing already, and because you're comparing two firms, and in that case, then it's a perfect analysis tool for this.
Yeah. For group 5, I copied you. I know that coach thing we were having challenges with, but I copied you on another email from that other lady from TalkWalker, Brittany, and she's available for a phone call with her cell number there if you want to talk to her in more detail about it.
Just a quick question on TalkWalker.
Yeah.
The group that Tommy is only access data going back 1 month.
No. You can access data going back 1 year.
1 year? Okay, so a year is enough for all of you guys in terms of your firm.
It should be. Oh no, you mean it only brings up
like maybe it definitely gives you a month, maybe 3 months.
up at the top where you select 1 year.
When I hit 1 year, it blacks out like.
Yeah, I saw
give me
that.
like
I didn't know.
maybe a 6-month period of time, but it definitely doesn't give a year.
It doesn't give the full year.
They did the data limitation amount of data to collect. Maybe you have to narrow down your
Let me double
parameters.
check that. Maybe I can shake that loose if you need that, because I saw that too, and I wasn't sure why you just see the month of June there on some of the charts, but on some of the others, it does give you the whole year.
On most of the charts, when I tried to hit 1 year, it blacked out like the second half of the year.
Oh, really?
It might be a data limitation, it might be why, but
Yeah.
too much data for that for a year.
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. It might be a limit of our demo version.
Yeah.
We don't
Like
get
I'm
it.
saying, because I get the same limitation. The desktop version idea you have on now is a limitation of 1,000 rows, so that's a limitation.
Let me check on that. We'll talk over maybe. Okay.
Okay, back to the main topic. It's very good that we're talking about using these automated audit tools and 100% testing today, because IDEA is another tool like ACL, Audit Command Language, does the same thing. It's an interactive data extraction and analysis tool, and it's used by many mid-sized firms and private companies. In fact, the AICPA uses IDEA. And second paper that I got published was about a project we did with IDEA and AICPA, where we took IDEA and we put in some preventative and detective controls using IDEA in their Oracle cloud-based ERP system. So talking about what Professor Brennan was talking about a minute ago, using IDEA with the same tool we have here. I used the very same IDEA 9. We conducted preliminary tests or preventative tests which prevent anomalies in the system before payroll is produce and then afterwards. So we had both sides, preventive and detective controls, using scripting, and they were dropped into the system, and the continuous monitoring and continuous auditing procedures. So the detective would be more of an auditing side, right? Because you're looking after the fact, after the table was produced. Whereas the preventative would be more of the monitoring. So you're looking at the transaction before it actually gets produced into the payroll and trying to find anomalies and control violations, and those transactions pulled out for analysis. So IDEA and ACL are perfect for that kind of work. And you'll find out many companies, most companies have ERP systems now. People ones are auditing as external auditor or internal auditor, and so IDEA may most likely be embedded within their system or ACL. ACL is used a lot in the large corporations or large ERP systems because they have different types of analysis software, whereas IDEA has been used more on the auditing side. So everybody should have, if they pull up IDEA, to be looking at all programs in the desktop. You need to use, for this project, you would need to use the desktop here in the room 120 and not your own laptop, okay?
And everyone raise your hand if you get behind, if you can't follow, you know.
And also make sure this is what your screen should look like. So this is exact same. And the IT department said they converted every desktop in here to IDEA 9, but I did check it myself first. I checked a random selection, right? So, I mean, maybe my random selection is accurate or not. I don't know. It's a good example of how auditing works. I mean, I just went through like 10 real quickly. So that's more than you do in the typical sampling and auditing besides. So hopefully everybody's screen should look like this. Is everyone at the same page? Okay. Just a quick overview. We have, this is like our main tab here, like in terms of like what we're looking at. So we could look at a project overview here. We could create a project. This is what we're going to do first. We're going to actually, if you have all the directions from that I sent you earlier last night, we're going to go ahead and create the project for everybody today as part of the demo here, so that we're one step ahead of the actual exercise. Then this way you select a project, you can archive projects, look at properties of projects, then we can go to the data tab, and of course we can't pull this up yet because we don't have any data loaded yet. Analysis would be like looking to see if we can do a direct analysis, which is very similar to the equation editor in ACL. Indexing, again, another way of sorting out the data. Looking at the top records would be like the most, the anomalies in the data, outliers, the largest records. Key values, looking at certain key values in their data rows. Gap detection, Benford's law. Duplicate keys, that could actually be triplicate or three-way tests. Statistics, the overall statistics. We have the summarization, stratification, the charting, visualization, aging, pivot tables. You could join tables together just by linking usually the unique identifiers or employee IDs or vendor IDs to pull together records to see how they link together. Appending is the same. We could actually append a certain data set with additional records that you can either add an equation like the calculation, or let's say if you're doing average score or something, and then that could be appended as a better column. Visual connector is another way of looking at the project or the data set, showing the project flows and what the steps were you conducted. And comparing data is another way to do it. And we also have viewing, so the different ways to look at the data here. We'll look at that in a second. The macros doesn't really affect you, but that's more or less where we're taking any procedure to do an idea, and with the history that we pull up over here, we can actually create a script which runs by itself. And for those of you doing in Project A, you actually be using part of your assignment will be working with the script that you won't really be aware of it, but you're going to be interacting with it. So let's go back to any questions about IDEA so far? Okay, so we'll go back to Home tab. And we're going to, first thing we have to do, like we saw the directions here. Does anyone have the directions or a PDF of the directions? I mean, a copy of the document that I sent yesterday? Okay. So you see, the first step we have to do is create a project. So, I mean, that's like that's the bucket that everything goes into. So we want to click on this Create here. Okay. You'll get a Create Project box. And the name of our project here is called P card project, so it's very basic. So we add that in. P card project. Okay. And hit OK. Now, we just created a project. Now, I'm going to show you where we're going to go find this, because you want to verify that it's there so you know where to look in your system. Now, the pathway here is a little different than it would be if you did it on your own laptop, because these are public computers, so they're configured a little bit differently. So what we do first, you go to the local disk, the C drive, and you go to users. Now this is where it's different, okay? So usually you get your own user ID, but in this case we're using RBS, okay? And because it's a public system, you're not going to have, okay, get the pathways computer, my computer, local disk, users, and RBS, okay? So normally you would hit documents at this point. But since this is a public computer, the system has taken out that option, so we have to go to buy documents, okay? This is why Tiffany, the project won't run in your computer, because the pathway is different. Okay, so now we have my idea documents. Is everybody there? Okay. Idea projects. Okay, so you have your project here. Okay, so if you open it up, we have these different buckets for everything. For example, in exports, this is where like any documents you might prepare or export from IDEA would show up here. Like if we want to convert a table to Excel or a Word document, it would come into exports. Macros is where like the script that's telling you about, that's where that would reside if that exists. Results, that's where all the IDEA results are located. Smart Analyzer, that's a special application, which is add-ons you put onto IDEA that you pay extra for. They have a library of several hundred of these right now. I think ACL has a similar library that's 1,000 different scripting add-ons, I believe. Then we have source files, which is where you put the data that you want to load into IDEA. Normally, the IDEA will go to the source files to look for data initially, but you can change that pathway when we load the data in a minute. So this is where like most of all your data would reside for this project. Okay. Yes.
I don't have this code.
Okay, so you don't have IDEA 8 on IDEA 9 on your computer?
No, I don't have this code. ECN project.
P-card, well, you have to create it. Let me see what's going on. Can you find it? It's the document. Go back to the not just really critical because desktops, like I said, are configured differently. So if you hit documents, and we try to create documents, and you go to my documents, it's going to not work, okay? Yes?
I don't have version 9, I don't have version 8.
You don't have either, none of them in there?
I have 8, not
No, you can't use version 8.
I don't have version 8.
You want to use the computer? See, this is a problem with, folks, this is a problem with sampling, okay? Here is an outlier that I did not detect in my random sample of the 10 computers. Okay, so if this is an audit, and that was an anomaly, an outlier, or a problem, then I mean, I have to get trouble with an auditor to find that, right? But it's actually according to standard, because I did do a sample, and it was accurate in terms of the procedures, then I could say, well, I mean, actually, this, I followed the regulations, I did whatever any other reasonably trained auditor would do. In that case, we wouldn't get in trouble, but you know, in that term, in this situation, we do not find that one outlier. So let's check, make sure before we start. We'll wait for our friend here. Meantime, what we can do is open up your source files folder. And it's empty, so what we can do then is, did everybody load the Excel files, that use the P card transactions file and the flash drive, or do you have the email open?
The email.
Okay, we want to transfer that into here, to this folder, okay? And to the sources file by ILD, okay?
All three Excel.
Yes, you have three. Well, you can put, it doesn't matter with that. I mean, there's two other ones. You can put wherever you want. So that's going to be your data sets you would send to me later. So we want to take this one here, copy it. So it sits over there. Is idea 9 on your computer?
Still opening up.
Still opening? Okay. We'll wait for you. Now also, I sent everybody a PDF. It's a 200-page monstrosity, but you know the front page looks like this. It's a workbook. Although, and if you're interested in playing around with idea later on your own, I can send you the data that goes to this workbook. They have like some AR projects and some AP projects, and they're very interesting. But what's good about it is that it gives you ideas about how to do certain procedures, okay? So you can look at it and use your own data set, you know, or play around with your own data that you have available using those procedures. You don't have to follow this exactly word for word, but it'll give you an idea of how to conduct certain tests, do certain processes. Or you may consult with it to make sure that you're doing something correctly. So it has it broken down by process with the data sets. So this is a very handy tool also to use in conjunction with whatever you learn here today. Okay? Are you good to go? Have you created your project yet? You created the project?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
Okay, we'll wait for you a minute. So we now have this data loaded into the idea project. So you can close this. We can open up idea again. So actually the screen's blank now because we started the project, but there's nothing loaded into the project yet. So we're going to also start loading the data in, yes? Yeah. Well, please be careful. Everyone's making this mistake. Do not create a do not go documents, my documents, because it's not going to be the right pathway, okay? That's going right from users, user ID, in this case it's RBS, my documents, okay? So normally, like in a regular laptop, it would be. I know that's why I told you guys do not use the directions I sent 2 weeks ago because I wasn't able to configure it for idea 9 on these last. When I came the other day, I realized that there was an issue with this. I had to change everything around. Okay. So do not use the documents from 2 weeks ago because that's where I think people are making mistakes. Okay. Yes. Okay. Fine. When we go open it up, you're going to have to find it. No, but it's great things. Yeah, you have a hyperactive. I would hit copy and paste. Yeah, no, I'm just looking for copy and then just move right together. Yeah. Oh, you're not? Okay. Can somebody email him? No, everyone has the same source of data, okay? The same project name, okay? So, anybody can pass me this, your flash drive or something, yeah. You don't have the name of the Masons, do you? Okay, well, you can join group B, okay? Yeah. Can we all good to go now? Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your patience. Now we're going to actually start adding data to ideas, so we have something to work with here. Okay? So we're going to click on this desktop, the big blue plus sign, okay? Click on that. It's come up with Import Assistant. This is what was a really nice idea. They had a very automated, user-friendly import process for the data. So we're using, since our data is Microsoft Excel, click Excel. Now, this is why I was telling you where to put it, because this automatically comes in here in Idea. Now, if you put it someplace else, at the source file someplace else, you may have to actually finagle a little bit. You hit that, you hit the three little dots there on the side of the menu bar, and you'll see the data is right there. Now, you may have to change that location if you don't see that coming in right away with source files. Okay, so then hit open. Okay. But actually, this updated key card.
Go back and do that, start that again.
Okay, yeah.
You get that one.
Okay, so you have this import assistant here, right? Okay, so the computer location is correct, and so the file name, we're going to click on this link up here, okay? You highlight that, okay?
Yeah.
So the name is automatically loaded to Idea now, okay? Then hit open, okay? So we're all with that step now, right? Okay. The next. So we have one sheet here. Now we want to also click this first row is field names, and also you can import empty numeric cells as 0. Yes.
I had a quick question.
Got it? Okay. Make sure you hit the field names and importing them, or else you're gonna hate life and have to reload it again and everything, okay? So you can scroll around, look at the data here. You can see we have transaction, employee account numbers, daily transaction limits, item total. We can also, we can also expand this bar here so you can see what the actual amount is, the actual name is. So daily transaction limit, for example. So we're dealing with limits, okay? Now, just giving a little background on the project, which you have also in the document that's entitled the case study, or the instrument. This is a very high probability of fraud situation, where we have employees using what's called procurement cards, which are basically employee credit cards. They're used for maintenance, repair, operations, repair, and it's with this is an actual case, okay? And this is a project we worked on quite extensively 2 years ago, and we've got a lot of mileage out of it, actually. But it's very interesting because we were analyzing 100% of the data, but there are too many transactions to analyze. So in this case here, we have these transactions which we need to narrow down. And the idea is that there are certain rules that are associated with procurement card, auditing, and controls, which we would apply. And we're going to build into Idea, or we're going to test with Idea through assertions, for example. So in that case, then using that, we were able to filter down, reduce the number of exceptions that have to be examined, because examination is very expensive for an audit firm or internal auditors to conduct. The idea is you want to try and reduce the number of exceptions that you spend time, doing detailed analysis. In this particular case, we were coming up with, 100% of the transactions, 55,000 transactions a month of employee credit card data. We were coming up with 2,000 to 3,000 exceptions, which is too many for auditors to examine. So that was a big problem, which I think we understand you've seen this, right? So how do you reduce that number and try to prioritize the exceptions? So there's different ways to do it. I mean, there's, like one of our colleagues at St. Isa come up with this whole dissertation, and it's actually built a tool idea called exceptional exceptions, where it's more of a clustering-based analysis. But the idea is that there's some outliers, like usually if you visualize something, you'll see some items will sit up by themselves. Like our friend back there without the computer, that's an outlier, okay? That's the idea 8 or idea 9 loaded. So
yeah, I mean, I think the scary thing is that doing traditional P cards reviews or expense reviews, we don't find anything. And then suddenly use this technology, and you got so many exceptions, you don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
So it's a little telling about the problem we have.
And
most data is screwed up, or there's corruption in it, and we don't find it with our traditional methods. So once you start, when you first start using technology, you're going to find thousands of things wrong instead of doing sampling to try and find one thing wrong. And then that's concerning.
Well, even like with the AICPA project, where we were developing idea preventative and detective tool in with AICPA and payroll. And payroll is typically considered by most auditors to be a very low risk area, because there's so many third parties involved. You have the IRS being in tax data, you have the 401k, you have the insurance companies. So they have all this other additional oversight. But we still find problems with the payroll. But more efficiency and more like in terms of like whether it's most effective situation for AICPA. That way, an employee had more overtime per every 2 weeks than they had regular salary, for example. It happened every week. So that was obviously not very efficient situation for the AICPA. So, this could be used in many different ways. But so in this case here, your data set, this data set you have here, is some of the smaller one that's based on the anomalies that were found in the system. So the idea with this project is to reduce the number of exceptions. So we're going to apply a few different rules to that data set so you can understand like how to reduce the number of exceptions that have to be analyzed. Because in this case you have to interview the employee, look at all the paperwork, go traffic the merchant in some cases if you don't have purchase item information, that kind of thing. So it's very laborious and time intensive and expensive. So because auditing, what happens ultimately is if you have issues and you have to examine something, then you have to do the paper-based audit. It's still, the sample is still in that area, in that scope. So let's go back now to the data. So we have this data here, the audit total dollar amount, we have transaction amount. Some things I have a question about. For example, we have the purchase item description here, so if I want to look at that. So you see there's all kinds of items were bought here by these. Most of them look like personal items, don't they? I mean, very clearly could be bought. I mean, why would somebody be buying bedding, for example, for work? I mean, there's some that are very obvious. Obviously, these are exceptions. And this is real data, by the way. This is not, standard. This is not created data. So this is actually what's going on in this particular company a couple of years ago. So we hit OK. And now we have all the data loaded to IDEA. So you should have it look like this. Is everybody there? Okay. So to give you an idea of a quick overview, you can control your view of this data set by looking at this properties column here on the right side. This is where we're at now. So whenever you want, let's say you're doing a test and you want to go back to this, you just click data and it'll always put you back to this view, okay? You can click on history, okay? That'll give you the history of what we did here. So you can click on that, it'll show you what you did to import the data, okay? And this is actually very good for audit trail work. We're showing, and eventually everything you do with that data set will show up in this history by time log, timestamp. So for detailed audit logs, this is very good. And then we also have control totals. So that would be if we're looking at a certain column, let's say look at item total dollars. If you highlight that, do control total, let's see, we're going to do it on item total dollar, right? We're going to calculate it now, and it'll give you the total amount of all the dollar amount of the total item total dollar field that we're looking at. This is an example of how you do that, okay?
And why might you want to do that? Mark, what do you care about what the dollar total is? What are we assessing?
Materiality.
Right.
Exactly.
Risk or materiality. You might have a huge amount of data and it only adds up to 1/10 of 1% of your transactions, and it may not be worth even running it up.
Yeah. Or if you want to do another one, let's say you want to look at transaction. Let's say the transaction totals, okay? Because interestingly enough, some of the transaction totals, we don't have all the information about the entire transaction, which is also questionable. Like the professor said, there's a lot of the problems, a lot of this data is that they're problematic. One of the big issues in this particular company is that their one vendor, Walmart, who is the general merchandiser carrying thousands of items, they don't release details of purchase items. So you have like the total amount the employee bought, the date they were there, and that was it, the location of the store, nothing else. So how would you define what they bought? I mean, other than looking at a detailed examination. So the transaction total is here, and we should get that number here too. So the transaction total, so you see, is very close. Okay, so now we go back to the main data set here. Also, if you want to add comments to the database about this data, let's say you're working on a project with your friends, your colleagues, and you want to make a note about something, if something observed or where you left off at, then we put that in here, and then that will be part of the running comment, and your colleagues will look at it later when you open up the same project file again. This would be more for like shared server versions of IDEA. As you can see here, there's a not connected IDEA server, so we're not connected to your individual desktop version and not the connected server version. But like at our car lab up in, in this Auditing reporting laboratory, we have a server version of IDEA, which connects all to the main server. And therefore, like that, in that case, if all our project would be sitting on that server and anybody else could access it and see the notes for sharing that project. So, close that. Then we'll go back to the data here. Okay. So this is what you should have here. Everybody back here on the same page? Uh-oh. Are you okay?
Yeah.
All right. We're good to go now? Okay, now if we go to data, for example, we could do indexing, for example. Let's say if we want to sort the data by, let's say, descending order, or let's do the transaction. Let's do the item total dollar. Okay, so now we have it by the amount of the transaction. Now, in terms of examination of this project, I mean, I think it's very interesting. We have transactions at 45 cents. So I'm wondering what that's all about. That's the second row. So there's a gift tag, a dog gift tag, a Target, 45 cents. So these are very odd purchases, aren't they? I mean, so I think we have a lot of work to do here. And the question is, how are you going to prioritize this? Okay, so that's the whole project involved, here today. Is like, how are we going to reduce the number of examinations we have to do on these projects?
And this is real data.
This is real data, right?
From a company.
Yes. I mean, in fact, like initially they thought that we'd be reducing them. What happened, the context of the situation was that the one internal auditor was examining all the data manually. And what happened is that she was looking at 55,000 transactions, and even though she had these rules that she had developed, they were suspicious. Management was suspicious that they were actually being applied effectively. Sure enough, we just took her rules and applied them using IDEA or ACL actually. And it was amazing all the exceptions we found. Like the professor said, when you first start running an automated system, you realize that there is an issue of human fallibility. Humans are not machines. So that's something else to remember as an auditor is that the more you reduce the amount of work you're doing that could be more effectively done by automation, the better off you could be in using your intelligence and judgment for situations that require that level of judgment. Professor Helen arrived now. Hi. Hello. Okay, so as you can see, we analyze the data, just looking at the numbers here. You can play around with that on your own. I'm going to go to analysis. And I wanted to show you the equation editor because that's important. Like, some of you, for example, that are on Project B, we have to look at certain types of tests. So I don't want to have you guys struggle with that part too much. We're going to review how to do those kind of tests first today, so that we have an idea going forward. So for example, we're talking about transaction limits. So we want to analyze any transaction. For example, if you see everybody has a transaction limit of $2,000. So you see that in any of the transactions, all of them should be, ideally, the daily transaction limit should not be over $2,000, right? Okay, so we're going to go to direct here. This is very similar to the equation editor box. So you go into analysis up here, right? You're out of home, you're in analysis. Then I hit direct, okay? And that opens up the direct extraction, which is how we're going to test. We're going to pull out the data that qualifies it that's over $2,000 daily limit, okay? So we're going to click this little calculator here, okay? So this looks very familiar to everybody, right? It looks like ACL almost, and it's very similar, okay? So we're going to scroll down here. So we want to double click on the daily transaction limit so it loads up into your equation box. And we're going to say greater than, and we're going to put in $2,000, okay? Very simple. So I clicked on this arrow here because you don't want to do that manually. You want to click on that. Now you can check to see if it's valid by checking to see, just like with ACL, in the case where I did, it's a valid equation. Okay, so I always do that before I put it through to save myself some aggravation. So that way if there's an issue with it, I can fix it before I have to go re-enter it, okay? So then hit OK. And we have this here. I'm just going to call this extraction 1. You could call it over limit, Okay. And you hit OK. And look at all these transactions. Even though they have the daily transaction total is over the limit. So these are all transactions that are violations, believe it or not, of the daily limit for that particular employee ID, okay? We have a new data set here called over limit. We're going to go back to this one here. Is everybody okay? You can call that data set whatever you want. I mean, we're just doing this for demonstration purposes. So that's a very simple way you would build a filter and extract the data from the original data set and get a smaller result. So we're looking at that one test of the over the limit transactions. Then for the daily limit for the employee ID. Okay? Then we're going to do what's called keyword tests. Now in this case, we may want to go back to our Excel file, and I'll explain to you why, because the keywords have to be exactly, precisely spelled, going way beyond the data set. And if they're not, then it's not going to be effective. It's not going to work. So what we want to do then is go back to our source file, right? And open that. If you have it, it's not open already. So, as you see, this is where I did putting a resulting file. So you can't open that right now. But if you wanted to open that, if you didn't open the data already, you could just click on that. It would open up an idea automatically and it would open up the project. Okay, so we're going to go to source files. And we want to open this up. And we'll pull one item to test as a keyword. Let's see here. Let's do this one here, the rubber gasket. Okay. That's a test here. Hit Control C. Okay, then we're ready to go. We're going to go to direct here again. We're going to click that box. And we're going to say purchase item description. Yes.
You have to go back to the original file, right?
Well, we're in the original file. Yes, so hit the data. Okay, go to the top tab here, okay, and click on that, okay? Am I going too fast, everybody?
In the file, are you copying the title?
No, the first item, I just took the first item in
Oh, okay, just
yeah.
the name of it.
So the first item description, click whatever you want to in there and copy that, okay?
Okay.
No, an item.
Are you copy just the word rubber gasket or also
The entire thing has to be exactly, that's why it's good to go, like, here, I clicked on this rubber gasket, right, and I copied it from here, okay, from the menu bar. Okay, because,
Just so you have the title.
yeah, it was exactly precise, because it's like every other software that's out there, it has to be exactly the spaces and everything, or the way it's spelled, with uppercase, lowercase, or it gets messed up. Okay, it won't work.
And then what did you do after that?
I just hit copy, okay? It's sitting there, it's waiting for me to put it someplace, okay?
Oh.
Yeah. And this is an example of how we do a keyword search. Why we do a keyword search is so we can quickly identify, let's say we have an auditor that says, okay, you have a list. In this case, we had hundreds of words where they identified problematic transactions, okay? You know, like words like massage, sex, paper bag, you know, wine, beer. I explained a little bit in the project documents here. So, and then ideally, we would do all these keyword tests. And so to pull out real quickly those more problematic transactions that have those words as an item description in every block. Or and also, in this case, missing items. So if there's no information there, we also want to pull that information as well. So why do we don't know what the the employee bought? Okay. Any other question? Oh, yes.
How did you get to the keyword search?
Okay, I'll start that part again, okay? We'll start this again so that we're all on the same page, okay? Okay, so we're in the data V part transaction, right? The main data set. Everybody there?
Yeah.
You hit direct, you're in the analysis tab, right? On the
Yeah.
top? You go to direct.
Yes.
You have a direct extraction, right?
Yes.
So we're going to create another data set. And this is going to be pulling out those transactions that have whatever keywords we're looking for. Now, I feel you could do a list of, we'll just do one keyword here, okay? So you click on this little calculator. And this looks very similar to like ACL, right? So, I mean, it's very intuitive, it's very similar, you could probably operate it the same exact way. So we're going to, since we're looking for purchase item descriptions, we're going to scroll down here, and you see this here, we're going to double click it. And it shows up in our main equation bar, okay? Then you also since we're looking at for this particular item, so we might hit equal, so we're looking for those that equal the keyword we pulled. Now, because it's a character or a text, we're going to have to put that within the quotation marks. So, again, let's click on the link on the top there. So is everybody there? Your equation should look like this so far, right? So we go back to the Excel here and make sure you copy this. Control C. Open up idea, then put Control V. This is, I'm just pulling the rubber gasket. You can pull whatever else you want to out of the first item description field, okay? Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to check the equation editor, validate the equation. Valid equation, right? Okay, okay, and green arrow. And I'm going to call this keyword search, okay, just so. Okay. We hit okay. And okay, so we have all these transactions that have this gasket, right? It's interesting, they're all from the same, let's just explore them real quickly. Let's see, it's just, we could narrow this down even further. So we have different transaction numbers. It's all the same employee ID. Yes?
I don't have any of those.
Did you load the transaction data?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you copy and paste from Excel?
Yeah.
Okay, then hit equals, and the quotations on the side. Don't forget, class, whenever you have text, okay, you have to make sure you put everything in quotation marks, right? And you have, and it has to be clicked on, okay? It's like ACL. So some of that knowledge you can over to this project as well. Because of something wrong with the keyword search now, okay, so, let me see your page editor again.
You know, while she's doing that, I want to just make the point too. What you guys are doing right now is you're writing analytics. And think about, it's not just for a one-time event. You could write these analytics and put a bunch of keyword searches in.
Yeah.
And you could put that in a script that's going to run every day on every expense report that this, or P-card this company has, and you're going to find anomalies, and you're going to put a closed loop alerting on it, and you're going to monitor on a continuous basis these kind of things. And you can write more complex nested analytics that are going to let you constantly monitor the data. So you're writing analytics like you did with ACL. Welcome, Dr. Brennan. How are you? Good.
You can name whatever you want. Extraction one, take it out of there.
Everyone else all right?
There you go. Okay. You make sure you're putting you're clicking the whole name of the purchase item. So if you cut it short, it's not going to work because it has to be exactly what it is in the document. This is the only problem with IDEA and also ACL to some degree. And it's hard to do fuzzy research.
But a lot of tools do have fuzzy logic.
Yeah, exactly.
Something close to what you have.
Exactly. So, like example, if an audience not used to being that precise, like in the case of the project, then we had to do a lot of work to actually like get the exact terminology of the data sets and exact terminology of all the items, because the auditor just knows they're looking at something, not necessarily the machine is different than an auditor. So it's the difference between machine reading and people or human reading. Okay, so we have this data set here, which is, this is going to be something that we're going to be working on in a project later. You can see there's one employee here. There's all the transactions are over the daily limit. So we have control violations here already, right? And they work, they're buying the same item. The rubber gasket is very expensive, right? But don't forget, this is repairs. This firm here is a multinational consumer goods company. So they make all kinds of items, toilet paper, diapers, they sell dog food, razors, shaving cream, shampoo, detergents, diapers. Almost anything you use, everyone's used their product today already. I'm almost 100% sure of that. So obviously this is probably some kind of machinery place. I don't know what this gasket is, but probability is that it's probably not going to be personal use. This is obviously been purchased for machinery repair, but you can see here all these items, and they also work for engineering. So would you want to examine these transactions? What do you think? Okay, so if you had to examine these transactions as an auditor, decide whether you want to examine them or not, would you examine them further? Yes. You would. Why?
They're over the transaction limit, and it's.
But let's say if I told you that 240 of the transactions are over the limit. There's still too many to investigate. Don't forget, like auditors want to keep the amount of work they're doing similar to what would be under sampling. You want to get your data set down to like 60 or 100 max.
Well, I mean, because it's the same amount over and over again, you could maybe just call the manager and say, is this, is this a repeat purchase that
Right.
I make every month, and kind of investigate it that way.
What if you call the manager and they said, well, the employee, well, first of all, the employee's engineering, right?
Yeah.
And what is, do you know what this rubber gasket is? I mean, it's obviously something that's odd, right? It costs over $2,000. So do you think that it's something that would be personal use? So we're looking for personal use.
No. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Not,
Probably not.
but your point is correct. I mean, you probably should call the manager and ask them, well, why is this going through the system and not getting flagged? Are there overrides being done on their end that they're not communicating to the auditors? So this is still a problem in their system, right? So it does deserve some attention. It may not be top priority or further worthy of really investigated detailed examination.
It may be a mistake or an operational problem, not
Right.
necessarily a fraud, but
Right.
that's the nice thing about analytics too. You're solving operational problems and you're solving mistakes and fixing mistakes. Dr.
Exactly.
Passarelli makes the estimate if fraud is 5% of revenue in the average company, then mistakes and other things are another 5%.
Easily. If don't forget the fraud, you have to prove opportunity, motivation, and motivation, right? So, and that's in other words, intent to deceive. So always in auditing, you're finding errors and misstatements. At first, that's what you have to think about is error or misstatement. Then you have to look at the probability of whether it's actually there's some kind of intent or it's a problematic issue that's ongoing. So depending on the context, then you would filter your investigation one way or the other. But you don't initially discover a fraud, which is a very important distinction to make. So in this case, yes.
Just agreeing with John, isn't it weird that it's all the same, all occurred on the same date, and the
Yes, I
transaction
mean-
numbers are all in sequence?
Yes, this goes to show that auditing is not very easy sometimes. I mean, it requires judgment. In this case, okay, so you have an employee of engineering who's buying the same item, the same dollar amount from Fastenal, which is like you don't know this offhand, but they're the largest vendors. They buy using procurement cards, and why is that? Because they sell industrial supplies. And don't forget, procurement cards look at personal use. I mean, maybe the engineer was selling on the side. That's another question. I've had my own personal experience. I've had issues where you've had supposedly legitimate employees selling items on the side. I mean, so in that case, that was fraud, right? But it was hard to prove because it looked like a legitimate transaction on the surface. Okay, so but what happened there? Usually, what happens? Somebody will slip up, and I've discovered this because there's a camera that caught this employees, actually doing something differently that they was giving it to somebody else. So.
Denise,
Yeah.
I can't leave, so did you already talk about the power of analytics to identify patterns in the data?
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know how much longer we could go over all this before, because I'm worried about the project, the main
Right, but
project.
that's just the key.
Yeah.
And Professor Brennan talked about this as well, is one of the challenges that auditors have, and we've done research on this, is that they are not really good at identifying patterns, right? And
Right.
so what analytics does for you as an auditor, the power of it is that it highlights where there are inconsistencies. So you can see a pattern. You just pointed out it's odd that it's all on the same day, or it's odd that there's a series of purchases that are the exact same amount. Right? So without analytics, yes, you could scan it. We talked about this in auditing. You can scan the transaction list, but that is not so. That's not as obvious. So
Right.
the analytics puts it right there in front of you. So it helps auditors to be able to better identify patterns and then follow up on inconsistent patterns in the data.
Yeah. Or you could also look at it. We could pull up the chart here. Okay, so we could also look at make a visual of this so you can see what's going on with this data. So we don't have to put a title here, but it's very simplified. So this is what our data looks like. As you can see, and if you click on a link here, you can see it identifies, just like any other interactive software, it gives you the amount and the transaction number. Now, this is very boring looking, it's all the same amount, but you see it's very simple and easy. Another way to look at the data on a very high level and see the trend of it. So we can do that with our main data set, right? So let's get out a keyword search. We could go to the main data set, or you could hit it here. You could click on the top tab here, and hit chart. This, we have transaction numbers. So let's do employee ID. I think it'd be more interesting, right? Let's do the item total dollar amount, no transaction total. We'll do both of them. So this is what the data looks like. Okay, for employee ID. So you can see there are some big anomalies there. There's a lot of smaller transactions, but it's harder to see what they are. So you can see, like, obviously there's an issue here. We have a lot of transactions which are over the 2,000 limit. We could put that in the data set as well. Does everybody have the same kind of visual up on the screen? Okay. So we go back to the visual data set. And we hit data, okay, so we can get the data. Okay, so now another test we could go over real quickly is the weekend test. So since these are procurement card transactions, and these are 9 to 5, Monday to Friday employees, right? What are the chances that if they're buying them in the weekend that it would actually be fraudulent, or I should say personal use? I mean, it's a high probability because most employees are not be working, you know, they don't want to do work during the weekend, they're not going to pay for it, right? Particularly if they're salaried employees, if the likelihood they'll go during the work day, they'll take time off from the office and go and buy products, right? So we want to also run that search. And also, keep in mind too that on Saturdays, sometimes vendors will bill Friday transactions on Saturday. So Sunday is a more likely day to be personal use than Saturday in some cases. It really depends. So we're going back to the direct here, okay? And we can hit the calculator. Everybody there on that same transaction? Okay. So we're going to look for Saturday and Sunday, okay? So we're going to look for the week, the date, purchase size date here, double click. Okay, now, actually, just let you know what we need to do actually is look and see the date and time. So just like ACL, there's a directory on the side which helps you do certain functions, okay? So if you don't know it offhand, you can always look on the side to see. So, and we pulled up date and time, you click on the plus sign, right? You click with all these functions here, okay? So we want to either day or days to date or day. This is going to give us the actual day, okay? So in terms of date, for example, one day, Sunday, this case, we want to do the weekend, we don't know the exact format, okay? So it tells us here. So exactly the pay date here. So let's see if there's a better one here. We want to do this one, sorry.
Which one is it?
We're exploring here. Yes, so this is our syntax, okay? So it's a numeric format, so a Sunday is 1, and then Saturday would be 7, okay? So we're going to take this out here and put this in. We're at day, okay? So we're at the day syntax, okay? So we're going to put in the first item date in here, okay, within the parentheses, okay?
What is the green part say?
You need to click on the function here, okay? So you're at the @day function on the side. You click that syntax, okay? And loads it into the idea, okay?
Everyone tracking there?
it's hard to read the.
Yes, it'll come up as a green, okay? But you can't type that in. So if you have the syntax here on the side, okay, that's why we pulled this up here. You just click that syntax and it'll come up on the menu, okay? Yes.
Are we supposed to be using the D today or the day?
The day.
Okay.
Yeah.
It says D today up there. Your function says D today.
Oh, okay, well, this is the D today, I'm sorry, yeah. D today, yeah, D today, I'm sorry. Then click equal, then we're looking for a Sunday and Saturday, right? So we're gonna click in one. Then we're gonna click 4. And do the same thing again. If you double click on that, okay? So again, we're going to do the purchase date. Let's load that in again.
Denise, you have a question?
Yes,
What's the second green part? I can't see it.
it's the same thing as today, right?
Okay,
We're
sorry.
doing like, we want to get Saturday or Sunday, right? So I clicked on, okay, we have the sidebar menu. We want to see the date and time. So we have the sidebar menu on your equation editor or your, yes. So this is what we're clicking on, okay? The D to date. D to days. Yeah. You're trying to, basically, since we have all the different dates, we don't know all the dates. We do know like Saturday is 7 and Sunday is 1 in the system, okay? And again, we click equal, and in this case, we're going to look for 7, right? This is what it should look like.
Everyone tracking?
Valid equation.
You guys are analytics writers here.
Yes. And you'll see, and afterwards I'll show you, we'll look at history and see what you came up with, okay? Is everybody on the same page now? Everybody's got the equation? And it's all valid?
Yes.
Okay, so hit it okay. And we're going to go over here. And we're going to call this weekend. Okay. Hit okay. Ooh, nothing. There's something wrong here. I did something wrong. Do it over again, yes.
I think it's DOW. Is it DO? It's not same thing. It's DOW.
Yes, you're right. Okay, so, sorry folks, it's DOW. DOW, same process though, okay? And you may go through this on your own, like, when you're trying to write a project, an idea, and you may have to explore the different functions to see what comes up and what works for you. So we're going to do this equals, again, 1, 4, DOWs, put that again. So put that again. So outside the parentheses, equals 7, okay?
Just use that DOW.
DOW, use the
operator
DOW.
instead of the days.
It's my mistake there, okay? The valid equation.
No.
Has everybody got the same equation here? And the green arrow, I'm going to call this weekend 1. Weekend 1 because I want to look at this. Oh, now we have the data set, okay? So we have all these transactions occur on the weekend. What's going on here, folks? Right? Yes.
Can you go back to the page?
Yes. Okay. So we open up the main data set, right? You're here. Click direct. And you get the extraction window, right?
Yeah.
We'll create another data set. So we're going to click the calculator, the center bar there.
Yeah.
Okay, now, idea of the catalog is built in on the equation edge where you can pull up different types of functions. So we want to, this is a date and time we're trying to find the weekend. So that's a Saturday or a Sunday. So we don't know the dates, right? We don't know what the dates are in the system, and we don't want to deal with that. It's easier to find it by numeric. If they assign the numbers, so like 1 is Sunday, Monday's 2, we have Tuesdays 3, only Saturday be 7. So you click on this plus sign with the date and time. Okay, you're there.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have all these things. We do the afternoon, aging, age, date, time. So let's go on to Dow, days of the week, okay? So we're going to double click on that, and that gives us the function right away in the menu bar, in the equation bar here,
And
okay?
then you purchase.
So you should have the green, you should have like at Dow, and with parentheses marked like that, with the cursor blinking on there, right? So now you're going to go down to purchase date, and this bar down here. So per purchase date, you may scroll down if you want. Double click on that. That should go in here. Let's see if I know if I can do that. There you go. Okay, it's in there now, okay? Click outside the parentheses. Click on equal. We want to put in 1, okay? So we're doing Sunday first, okay? Then hit or. There's an or there, okay? Then we go through the same thing again for the Saturday. Now, purchase date. Equals 7. Okay? So click on this, make sure it's a valid equation. Now just so you know, valid equation will come up even if it doesn't work, an idea. If you made a mistake with a keyword, or in that case, like I used the wrong date function, it came up valid, but it was wrong, it didn't work, right? Once you ran the data. So you have to know, you have to explore, make sure you have everything correct before the data set and what we're trying to do. Is she okay over there?
And keep in mind, once you write this once, now I can run every weekend. I used to be a programmer in RPG2, and this is what's called astronomical date.
Right.
And what they did is they took the number 7, and you started back in the 1300s, and they divided the numbers divided by 7, and every day from 7, I think it was 1700 until current, has a number. And if you divide that by 7, if the remainder is a 1, it's a Sunday. If it's a 7, it's a Saturday, or 2, it's a Monday.
Yeah.
And you can figure out, and then they adjusted in the 1700s for leap year. And I use this as in a program. And so with this kind of thing, you can, this operator, you can tell any day in the future that's a Saturday or Sunday, and you can take out holidays, and then you can calculate a lot of things that people are doing in terms of payment terms and other things. It's called an astronomical date. But once you write this once, now you got your analytic. You can run all kinds of tests to see what people are doing on Saturdays or Sundays or whatever.
Yeah, for example, another one we did, like if you're trying to find, any of the transaction on Christmas, for example, obviously that would be questionable too.
Yeah.
Major holidays where people are obviously not working.
And they do change, so we have a holiday table. So
Right.
we check for Saturdays, Sundays, and check the holiday table.
Yeah.
If you see anyone doing transactions during that time, probably a problem.
So this is very standard test in auditing. It's looking for weekend transactions and personal, particularly in employee situations, looking for expenditures and expenses on personal use. You click the green arrow and then so everybody's on the same page now, right? I can cut this, I can cancel this, right? This is okay. So I'm going to cancel that, but you see here, so we have the weekend here, all these transactions that occur on the weekend. Quite a few, isn't it? So let's look at the control total. Let's look at the transaction totals. I mean, it's $55,000 of merchandise that's being bought on the weekends, right? So it's a problem. And we can visualize the data as well. Let's look at the transaction totals as well here. And good by employee ID, because we're more interested in that actually. And you can see here, there's again, like a lot of these items, it looks like some are right over the limit or at the limit. Example, this is, again, it's probably the same employees. So they're buying these fashionable goods or whatever it is on the weekend. So these are like some of the key tests we run, that you would run this in this situation in procurement cards, okay? So everybody feel comfortable with the idea to some extent? Do you feel like you can navigate your way through a project at this point, if you're given directions? Okay, so do you want to take a quick break and then we'll start the project? Okay.
So let's take 15 minutes, come back at, we'll come back right at 11 there. Okay, you guys, let's jump in and get started here again. I like what Denise is presenting, and I want you to get this idea that this stuff is simple to do, and you can do this stuff. And when you get out in your audit engagements with the firms or companies, you're going to be able to say, hey, why are we doing this manual thing? I use IDEA, I use TalkWalker, let's use the ACL, let's use these tools, okay? And a lot of the firms are doing. Just a quick point, I just talked to TalkWalker, to Brittany, and they are going to expand, you're right, they were giving us 30 days. They're going to expand it to 1 year now, okay? And she promised me it wouldn't screw anything up, so make sure that, so after this class, it should be updated that you can do a year. So if you want to rerun your scripts and stuff, go ahead and let's see. I'll test it when I get home this afternoon too. But so she's going to expand it to a year. Interestingly, I asked her, I said, what happens, what's the problem? And they go back as far as 2 years. But can you imagine on a company like Siemens or GE, if you took all Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and print media input for 2 years? Because we were getting on 7 days, we were getting 170,000 hits on Siemens, for example. So can you imagine what you'd get if you go back, 2 years or something? So, and they actually, in their actual model, they charge more, if you want to go back further, So for social media data, I think there's a shelf life. But for some of the print stuff, or if there was an event that happened, you want to look at how things change sentiment and stuff for the event. So give me feedback. You guys have my email if you get in and it screwed your project up or whatever, but I think we should be okay. So let's give Denise her attention.
Okay. So half of you are Group B and half of you are Group A, right? So we're both working on the same project where we're trying to take this data set. You all have this, you all printed off the instrument document, right? So it's AAA Consumer Products Incorporated. So have you read this yet? Okay, so we'll go over it real quickly. So we have this client here with gives you unaudited financial statements, audited financial statements 2014, 2013. They produce a wide variety of product and shaving items, pet foods, household supplies, like I mentioned earlier, consumer goods. Anything that anybody would normally use in their normal course of daily life. Like I said earlier, every one of us, I'm sure, has used their products already this morning. You took a shower, went to the bathroom, you used like some items in your kitchen. You use their products. So the problem is, okay, so if you're looking at procurement cards where it's maintenance, repair, operations, and supplies, so we're looking at office products and research. A lot of their employees will be doing research on competitors' products. So someone who works in the diaper division will have a legitimate reason to go to Target to buy diapers, right? Does that make sense? If they're buying it for personal use, for business use. But someone who works, let's say, in, the dog food division, perhaps they don't need to be buying, shaving items or diapers. Unless we check dogs on shave, right? So a lot of this is very logical testing, so we're looking at the employee's department and deciding whether they actually belong in buying something like that. That would like increase the risk that that's a personal use transaction as opposed to a legitimate business transaction. So basically, there's a background here about the procurement card program in the company. There's 5,000 approved employees that can use these cards, and 55,000 transactions a month. And basically, there's different goals and ideas that we're looking for here, like that making sure all documentation is filed, review of receipts for completeness. A lot of this is normal auditing procedures. And also in the data sheet, I tell you, for example, like what the keywords are. Some of the keywords, for example, have been identified by the auditor as being associated with personal use before. So the massage is one of them, sex, white wine, light beer, different, jar, gift card. There's a whole list of items, plus that's indicated as personal fraud use or personal use in other cases in other companies. So some of this information is supplied by the credit card bank, and some of it's by the company's own results and audits. So we're going to take this information, and you're going to, if you have Group A, then you're going to have a tool that's been designed, an idea that you're going to run your test with, and Group B is going to be using some of the knowledge that, the testing that we just did to try using the same kind of tests, the 4 tests that are on the paper there to examine the results. Okay? Now it's really critical for Group A that you put the data set, the Excel data set in the main P-card project file, not in the sources file, okay? So it should be located here for the project A, okay? So you want to copy it and paste it over to here, okay? So it's in this, it's just sitting outside, it's not in the sources file, okay?
That's the file we were just working on.
Yeah, you're working out of sources, but you want to take it, if you're in project A, you want to take it out of sources and put it into just a regular open file, okay? And the remainder of the P-card project file. Is that confusing?
Yeah.
Yeah. In other words, we're taking the source data out of that particular location and putting it just in the regular P-card project file folder by itself, okay? So it should sit out like this. You can see it like at the bottom of your screen. So actually,
You put it on your desktop or?
And it's in the folder. It's in the P-card project folder. This is not within the sources file, okay? That's for Group A. So if you're not Group A, Group B, you have 2 other Excel files you'll have to access, and you need to report your results for they've been filled out for you already, so all you have to do is fill in information, okay? This is in Group B. Okay. In Group B, for example, you have this document here, risk scores. So that you'll get this here, right? So this is basically the same document you had before, but you're going to evaluate each transaction. The risk score, 1 being like very minimal risk, 5 being very, very high risk, and a reason, okay? And you'll fill that in as, as you identify different transactions. Like, remember all the Fastenal ones we looked at? Except I already did one audit test for you, right? I already pulled out one employee ID out of that one item, the keyword, right? And we identified those employees at those transactions. So then you would fill that information out on the sheet here. We find those transactions by the transaction number, okay? And fill out if you think it's a 2 or 3, for example, 2, like minimally personal use, you put in 2, and then, for example, this is the same employee here, okay? So we say 2, and reason like minimal chance of personal use, right? And then you save all your results there in the file and send it to me, okay? Email it, okay?
Everybody tracking? Questions? Where did you get that file?
I said it, Group B has it.
Oh, that's Group B.
Yeah, Group B,
Okay,
yes.
A.
Group A, the file is being created, this file is being created by the IDEA program. Okay? So anybody with Group A, like I said, it's really important you put the source file outside of the source file location. Just put it in PCAR folder, but not in any particular location, okay? And then also, and then after you've done that, let me know, okay? Now, Group A, you received a document that looks like this, right? Well, you didn't open it, but it says PCAR test cases with dialogue 3, correct? Okay, so that we're going to move to macros, within the macros file in your PCAR project, okay? So you open up PCAR project, see the macros, and you should be able to download it into there, okay? Cut and paste.
Macros.ibl.
Yes. And Professor Brennan was talking earlier about how you take a history. So basically, the Group A has a history. They were running the same analysis, but using the history of the tests that were done previously. Okay. So once that's loaded in for Group A, close it out. It's very important for when you start any kind of testing idea to make sure that your main source file in Excel is not open still, okay? So you can have your risk score still open if you want, okay? But make sure that PCAR transaction file is closed, or else IDEA will not work, okay? We won't load the data up. But Group B already has the data in the system. That's what we did together. So you're a step ahead already. So actually Group B, I mean, you can pretty much start your testing, like in the paper here. Group B, I need you to do 4 different types of tests, okay? Only 4. You're testing for transaction limits, which I showed you briefly how to do, okay? It's on the directions of Group B, okay? Keyword tests, so I give you some keywords. You may want to find them, how you should do this, you go find them in the Excel file, okay? In this case, you could open the Excel file because you already have the data loaded, okay? And you would cut and paste them exactly as they show up in the data file. This is for Group B only, okay? The duplicate test, I believe, we didn't get to that part, but I will show you, come to me about duplicate tests, okay? I'll help you get through that. Or you can look in the book that, the PDF that I sent you along with the rest of the files about how, they explain a lot of the tests you could do. And then the weekend test, we ran that together already, okay? So those are your 4 main tests. I'm not interested in looking at any other tests, because otherwise you'll be here for a long time. I don't think you want to be here all afternoon, right? You want to go home, right? So Group A, do you have the macro loaded into the file?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So.
Yeah, why don't you launch us in Group A? So what's the first thing we do?
Okay, so let me get out of this thing here. Okay, so Group A, you have your project open. Now you already have the data set loaded in there, okay?
Right, it's the same data set you were
right.
showing earlier.
Everybody did the same data set. I mean, so it doesn't really matter in this case. Okay, so Group A, you're going to go to the tab that says Macros on the top, okay? And you're going to click this big blue arrow that says Run. And you're going to come up with this box here, and you're going to click on this PCAR test cases dialog, okay?
That we just moved in there.
You just moved in there, right? And you're going to click on Open, and it's there first. It started now already, okay? Welcome to Procurement Card Post-Analysis Structure Decision Model Auditing System. So this is going to help us analyze the results and narrow down the number of exceptions we have in our data set. Okay, and we're trying to see whether this is more effective than an auditor doing this with their own judgment using the 4 tests. So we're only looking at the 4 tests like I said earlier, this whole project, both groups, okay? It's only the transaction limits, it's only the keyword tests, okay, we all have the same keywords, okay? And we also have duplicate tests and weekend tests, okay? So we're going to hit OK. And this is a structured guidance application for the user to further analyze and prioritize the results from initial substantive tests and analytical procedures to apply to 100% of the procurement card, P-card data. So it's a very similar process we have with the other, that Professor Brennan was talking about earlier today, where you have 100% testing, you have too many exceptions. So I know it sounds crazy that 300 would be too many, but we do have limitations on the size of data sets. But this is a demonstration version idea, so we can't do more than 1,000 rows, I believe. Okay. So you'll be guided in the application of a rules-based risk assessment process. So click OK. So basically, this is a very interactive and intuitive tool. So as long as you click OK. And then we get to certain interactive menus. You can see, please select, if I were you, I would review these rules one by one, just make sure that you're familiar with them. So we could put in one here. Okay, OK. It shows review the rule on daily transaction limit. And here's some information about the transaction limit. I would go through those rules one by one. Okay. And then when you're done, then click on 5 and enter 5 in the box and then go on to the next step. Okay. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You can, the only restriction I have with this macro, with this tool, is that you must do a suspicious items test and one other test. So we have to complete those main tests in the main menu, okay? So we're in the rule review here. So, so then I would start proceeding with the main test here. Okay. So first step that the script does is load the data in, which you already have it loaded in, but if you didn't, it would come up automatically. Okay.
So this is really a macro that's running pre-done analytics.
Yes. But you have the difference is you can choose which test to run.
Right.
Within some limitation. Like I said, the problem is that I don't want to get too technical about it, but we do have to have at least one test running, and the shortest test to run is a suspicious items main examination. So, for example, you get to this menu here, this main menu here, we select an audit test number. I need everybody to do the number 2 test, then complete that totally, and do one other test, or at least, if not more, at least a number 2. Okay.
And where do we see the results, Denise, of these tests running?
Well, at the end, when you exit out, you're going to get a resulting data set.
Oh, okay.
But you have to run it, but you have to do suspicious items test first.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
So
Just read through them as we're going.
No,
through.
you may understand, it has to be a key file, okay? And if the key file is not there, then it doesn't depend on the databases together. What this macro does is it takes all the extraction data sets like we did earlier, and it pens them all together as one data set.
Okay.
So you have to do a master into the key file though for that.
So Denise, this is for group A.
Group A only, right? So group B, you're the free formers, okay? You can do your own thing within the limits of the 4 tests. Yes.
So I ran the four tests. I figured out the duplicates, and I did the other ones along with the demonstrations. I have them for the P-card
Right.
one. Do you just want me to do similar tests on the list?
This board is, okay, Paul, go to the end of the last column. Okay, do come across transactions, you need to identify them by transaction number and how you would score them, and the reason, okay? So you might like to reduce that further, okay?
Okay.
And that's where you might want the PDF, to get some ideas about how, other ways you can build the document there.
Okay, so the goal is to filter this down, and then they're all going to have zeros. The idea is that we're assigning this.
Yeah, so look for you to get into the direction at the same time.
What do you have?
So you have
Class, I would do this if I were you. I would take, you have your laptop, I would keep PDFs of your ideas, of the directions or whatever on the, open on the laptop. Okay, here in group A. No, individual, right. Not your individual, right? You do brainstorming, but that's after you've done some tests, you know. Or you print off, so this printer up here, you print off the direction, you print off the information, so you're going to use that report at the end.
For them, so that's the way to, because you want to get, what are some of the missing transactions? Because you have to find a way to. So you start, because you can try to sort by certain, or you can say how you get Right, so then you want to, then is you write it up. So let's say I turn out only the limit, it's true, it's your steps. All right, because they find who else has B?
Group A, let's start with the keyword. I would do the unit audit test first. Group A, okay. Get that out of the way. Very short test. Okay.
So wait, how did you get there? You already ran all the tests, right?
No, I haven't run all the tests yet.
Okay, I ran all 5 of the tests now.
Oh, was that big one? No way.
I went through as much as 1 to 5 and all these things.
Oh, you can.
Who else had B?
Thank you.
Right now?
Do you have to bring up the students all the Okay, so here you go.
I focused myself.
The problem of, we have some benefits here of automation of audit tests, which is that all the data is being tested, and you can see that there's kind of a lot of errors that maybe a person would normally see manually, right? But the big problem, as you can see, is that it's very hard to analyze all the exceptions. This came out of a data set of 55,000 transactions. So we had all these data sets. This was the exceptions of that were resulted, and then we're trying to filter this down further. So this is a big problem in auditing right now, in the 20% transaction testing realm. Would you say, Professor?
Yeah.
Yeah, because how do you deal with all these anomalies? You can see the above exceptions, and you can't investigate all these yourself, right? It'd be unfeasible, it'd be impractical to do so. So as you can see, this is what we were trying to do here today. Is the Group A had a tool that had been developed at a very small scale to give guidance in terms of analyzing and trying to reduce that data set further. It goes back to overall summary of assessment of whether there's a lot of personal use in this data set. And Professor Brennan, you finished the whole entire script, right?
With a little help from my friend.
Okay. And did you think it was helpful? Did it help you, like, in terms of navigating through all the data, or you felt it was overly, like, too restrictive?
No. I think one of the things, you know, you get a tool like this, and it's like having a Ferrari, but if you're not an experienced race car driver, you got to figure out how you know, you need some guidance leading you through. And this kind of helps with the skills gap in auditing. You know, this would help you do a specific type of audit using a macro that would lead you through the process a little better. Now, I know some of you had some technical problems. Don't worry about that. We can figure that out.
Well, that's about a lot of this very basic, like this file for the wrong location or this name. So what it does is that basically the idea is that we go to audit, you have different staff member all the time, different associates, and they're going to be doing all the basic, the general ledger testing, all the testing by idea on the engagement. And they don't know all the rules like the managers would, okay? So this tool will give them, they're built in, and it'll be specific to this particular data set type. So you use the client who have P cards, and if we use an AR or AP, it would be designed for those databases. Yeah.
Comment here.
Is it, like, I know, I was thinking there was like running tests, but I
Yeah, listen up, everyone.
5 things that, like 5 constraints there were, but like for data that you get from like companies, wouldn't having like only a certain amount of constraints be like kind of problematic?
Well, this is very constrained because of the nature of what we're doing here today. If you want to test all those different types of audit tests and do a thorough, complete audit, then we'd be here for quite a few hours. So even with a small data set, if you don't know what you're doing.
Could this macro, would you use this same macro on any P-card data set?
Yes.
Okay. So
But
it's
you
ubiquitous in
have to go
that.
and change like the coding, like the name of the data set, for example, okay? The incoming data, okay? And then maybe a different project name, but it could be tailored. There's a lot of replace functions on the macro that can be used with other data sets.
Yeah, I think the analogy is that if someone said to you, hey, here's idea, go use it for a P-card audit, your first day starting at a firm, you wouldn't really know what to do, even though you might even know how to use idea. But if they said, here's a macro that's going to lead you through the things we think are key, at least to get you started, and then you can forensically do other things as well. I don't want you to get distracted by the technical things of the Excel file's not in here, it should have been over here, move that. I want you to come away saying, this isn't that hard to do. I can do this, you know. You probably even could write the macros, you know, at some point, you know.
Like I showed you the history, you've never seen the history, that's what it did. Basically I manually did element test myself, and then went through and copied all the history over, and you have to, the hard part was the interactive part, was all the text boxes and, the drop-down menus. And they created a dialogue box, so try to make it interactive. So.
I'm going to show you a tool next week called Oversight, which is an on-demand web-based tool that does P-card things too. And they already run all these macros on it, and then you go through and basically, similar to the last exercise, identify the risk and where you see issues. So but I want you guys to come away saying, hey, this is not that hard to do.
No, you just straight over to ACL.
No, I'm stretching.
Oh, stretching.
Okay.
Everyone stretch for a minute.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Question? You have a specific question.
Okay.
All right. So, anything else that you wanted to share? Can you share a little bit about KPMG is interested in this, right?
Yeah.
What do they want to do with it?
I have to be honest with you guys. So, you guys would like to pilot, the first pilot of demonstration of this tool. KPMG has asked us because they use Auditing on their engagement, and they have the same problem, which is they get all these transactions that are exceptions, and they can't examine them all. Okay, so we're trying to demonstrate, the possibility of they have a structured decision model, which is like this system here, this script. So that would enable auditors that are on the engagement to more easily analyze a data set like that and reduce it down to a manageable amount of exceptions. Okay, so, because don't forget, auditors, they're doing this on top of sampling, okay? Like Professor Brennan talked earlier, they still require by the regulations to sample. Now, ideally, the argument would be that if you come up with the same number of exceptions that are actually more like focused on the certain types of transactions, with the same number of transactions, and they're more fruitful, then perhaps I can replace them. But we're not there yet, okay? So the idea is that KPMG wants to see whether if we do a structured decision model, which is what the expert system is, where basically you're given some leeway about what judges, what decisions to make, but you're being guided to do so or not, then, ideally that we want to show that this is more effective than actually doing it on your own.
Okay.
So, we're going to be using this with their auditors in August.
Okay.
So,
In the field, on the
field,
audit side?
yes.
Okay, good.
yeah, so this is actually, this is very important what you did here today. It was good feedback for us in terms of what we have to work on.
Any other questions for her about idea or about the concept?
Very similar to ACL, they're both the same, cut out of the same cloth, basically. Although the only difference is this is based on Excel, a VBA, so it's very easy to take VBA coding and work it into IDEA, which is like with the dialog boxes, that's all comes through VBA Excel. So it's very interactive. People are more familiar with Excel than they are with ACL language.
All right, good. Well, I want to thank you. I think that was interesting, and I hope we provided some valued feedback for the firms and for you. So,
Thank you. Thank you
also,
very much.
you all got this email from Oversight. That's another software I wanted to show you next week. I was going to do it today, but don't do anything. But just hold on to the email and don't. You can go ahead and get your password in and whatever, but just don't lose the email because we're going to cover that next week, okay, along with some other stuff. So let's give Denise a big hand. Okay, any other questions, anybody? Anything you need? All right, let's finish strong, all right? A couple more weeks here.
Yeah.
Opa.
Then the big Kahuna show, right?
Yeah.
August 11th.
Good job. Okay.
Thank you, everybody, for participating today.
Yep.
It's a pleasure working with you, and I'll be working with you again on the 4th, right?
Yeah.
They learn at QRL.
Yeah. We may have bridged that a little bit. Let me see.
I know what you're talking about.